Black Dog After Dark is recorded in a video store by people who have been drinking. We swear a lot, and there's spoilers. It's not safe for work unless you work in a video store and have also been drinking.
Oh, my, every time you speak tonight, my soul just gets crushed.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
I know that, Mr. Man. They also call them cereals. I'm not stupid, you know.
The story is ludicrous. You can imagine where it goes from here.
Fixes the cable.
If it had a mind, you could reason with it. If it had a face, you could look it in the eye. If it had a body, you could shoot it. The Blob Terror has no shape.
This is Black Dog Video on Commercial Drive in Vancouver. That makes this the Black Dog After Dark Video Store Podcast, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Black Dog AD.
The usual assortment of idiots are here. I'm Dylan Reimer. I'm a stand-up comic, and I occasionally work here at Black Dog Video. To my left is...
My name's Alex Chisholm. I'm a longtime employee of Black Dog Video, and I'm also an events programmer and film programmer at the Rio Theater, just down the street.
I'm Darren Gay. I own this shoddy establishment, and it's cold and snowy and cold here tonight.
And you're dressed like the guy from the Fisherman's Friends. You just need a corncob pipe
Ricola.
and a missing eye.
Captain Highliner.
Oh, it's cold. You know, I got my toque on. I got my sweater. It's a chilly. It's a cold store, so you gotta do what you gotta do.
Before we get into that, we have a special
guest tonight is...
I'm Nick Strange. I'm another ne'er-do-well employee. In 2 months, I'll have been working here for a year.
What?
I just realized that.
That's fucking crazy.
So, we are discussing, it was Nick's pick, so your pick was The Blob, to make up for the fact that we lost the last 2 episodes that you're on.
So we let him pick a movie.
We let him pick a movie, and, strangely he picked the 1988 remake of The Blob. Nick, would you like to defend your decision?
Oh, yeah.
Explain yourself, Nick.
I remember I saw this on the Sci-Fi Channel when I was 11, and it was in the country, and we had satellites. My parents had satellites.
How many satellites you guys had?
No, just the one.
Was your property like riddled with satellites?
No, it was just a big satellite dish up there. Anyway, I saw it when I was a kid, and it was horrifying, but it was really cool too. And then I saw it again here at this particular video store.
How many times have you seen this movie?
Oh, countless times.
Countless, like a 1,000,
or more than 4.
Or you can't count past 1,000, or I can't count past 4.
Yes, I can't count.
So, what about you, D? Have you seen this before?
No, I've never seen I've seen the original, which I thought was okay. The one with Steve McQueen. It was, it was a I think it was 50s. I think it was 50s. I can't remember.
1958.
1958. Yeah, it was all right. I never really felt the need to go back and watch the remake just because I didn't care that much for the original. So I've never seen it before.
That's fair. How about the sequel? Beware the Blob.
Probably didn't see that.
As Beware with an exclamation point, and then the Blob. Beware the Blob.
Really? But probably not with Steve McQueen, though, was it?
Actually, Beware the Blob, the creepy preacher in the remake, is also in the...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was a creepy preacher.
Yeah.
All preachers in movies are creepy for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're never...
My favorite creepy movie preacher, though, is Anthony Perkins in Crimes of Passion.
Yes.
Yeah, he's pretty creepy.
Ken Russell, he's super sweaty and freaky in that.
Yeah, it's always the sweaty. Why are the creepy guys always sweaty?
Ken Russell movies are always full of sweat. The sweatiest fight. He must have the heat cranked.
That's right. Yeah,
on set.
He likes his actors so sweaty.
Yeah. Oliver Reed in particular.
Dylan, what about you? When did you see this?
This was very much a me and my friends, grade 7. Let's all rent a horror movie on a Friday night.
Oh, my favorite thing to do when I was that age.
Birthday party special, and it was just perfect.
Perfect.
That's all I can say is if you're 12 or 13, and you're you know what I mean. It's just naughty enough. It's just grown up enough, and it's just stupid enough.
It has everything you want.
Grade 7 brain.
What about you, Alex?
Well, I'd seen the original when I was a little kid, so I noticed ads for this right away. This is 1987, isn't it?
88.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I used to, as a teenager, I loved watching WWF Superstars of Wrestling Saturday afternoon.
And the Blob was one of the wrestlers?
No, but he is an X-Man. That's right.
Superstars of Wrestling aired on one of the American channels, and it always had ads for trashy horror movies, and I remember like seeing ads for 976 Evil.
Oh yeah.
Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2.
Also a good one.
Trick or Treat, the one with Ozzy and Gene Simmons,
heavy metal one, yeah.
and Skippy Hamlin from Family Ties. The one about playing records backwards, etc. Anyway, this movie was advertised a few times. I saw it shortly after it premiered. I don't even know if it played theaters in Halifax, but
Probably not.
I really gave it its most serious watch from start to finish just this August.
Oh.
From our stock, a friend of mine here in town has always talked highly about this movie, and just one night it caught my eye on the shelf, and I finally
Fuck it, let's
took it home.
blob it up.
Yeah, let's blob it up. All right, let's get into the meat of the blob.
Blob me up, because when you blob me up, my skin will melt. Directed by
Chuck Russell.
Chuck Russell. You know, I did a little research on this guy.
Yeah, me too.
Because I was like, who
the fuck's Chuck Russell?
Because I was like, Frank Darabont wrote this.
Yeah, well, him and Chuck Russell wrote it, but yeah.
And I was like, I remember something else that Frank Darabont wrote, and it was a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, the Dream Warriors, which we should do on this fucking podcast. So he directed. This guy has a really...
Well, he directed the Nightmare on Elm Street one we're talking about.
Yeah, Part 3, Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
And he did Eraser, The Mask.
I loved Eraser when I saw
that was a fun movie.
And he was involved with Back to School, Hell Night. Remember Hell Night?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
I remember Hell Night. Yeah.
The Scorpion King. Ugh.
Anyways, let's move along here. Let's talk about this movie, the Blob that we watched.
Yeah. So I guess just starring what? How does it start? Oh, it starts out in the. It's a bunch of shots of this dead town.
I assumed it was Dartmouth.
The present day Dartmouth on New Year's Eve.
I really like the purple and black title sequence, kind of like.
Oh yeah. Like it has that like sci-fi kind of.
Almost like The Thing, kind of.
Well, it was weird because it looked like a ghost town, and there's nobody around. There's sagebrushes blowing through it. There's there's
movie
crows eating. Yeah. But the thing was because everyone's at the football game.
Yeah, that was a joke that I didn't pick up on the first time I saw it.
Right.
Kind of had like a Stephen King vibe, the town.
Yeah, well, it did kind of set a little bit of a mood for like it's a sad, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a shitty place to live, and I'm probably doing a show there on Saturday.
I immediately got a big Twin Peaks vibe.
Did you?
The movie when I rewatched it in August, and when we watched it most recently, because that we discussed seeing it. Yeah, most recently, oddly enough, Nick, Dylan, and I watched it together.
You weren't invited, Darren.
I know. Why wasn't I invited?
Because it's weird to have the boss over. That's why.
It was not really the boss.
It was actually
I'm the boss. I'm not really the boss.
It was something Dylan explained us. It's called it's like a Darren ridicule party.
Oh, was that?
It's his concept.
Did you have like a mannequin of me sitting in a chair and you like threw things at me like pies and
we burned an effigy of you.
We play pin.
But is it an apartment?
Balcony.
We play pin the dong on the Darren. And it's like a dildo.
So you put it in my forehead.
It was a spontaneous hangout between the three of us, and then at the end of the night, we did watch The Blob. Yeah,
and everyone fell asleep, got drunk.
Well, that's how I make out with people. Is I go, baby, you want to see The Blob?
And so did you make out with Dylan or Alex or
neither
Nick?
of them? Or
well, Nick and I made out, but we just left.
I know in my bed.
Ooh.
I had to sleep on the floor. I had to listen to that disgustingness.
You have a bed?
I have a cot.
So and some milk crates.
So it starts out and they're watching a football game. Does anything happen at the football game?
Yeah, well, you're introduced to the cheerleader, Shawnee Smith. She's the cute cheerleader, and she's got eyes for the football dude who
looks like Ben. He's like not Ben Affleck.
Yeah, he's just like a regular like jockey kind of guy, and he gets creamed playing football.
He also gets creamed by the Blob.
Yes, yeah, which actually surprised me when it happened. But
it was a little bit of a Jant Lee kind of thing, like.
Yeah, well,
he's going to be the hero.
Yeah.
I guess we're really jumping ahead here, but his creaming by the Blob was it's very satisfying the way like Steven Seagal bites it early in Executive Decision.
Yeah, he falls out of the plane.
He's going to see it save the day, and then he's like sucked.
And that movie was out.
Anyway, so we're at the football game.
I want to keep talking about Steven Seagal.
No,
I don't.
We're introduced to some of the characters.
No one's ever said that, by the way.
And we're introduced to Matt Dillon. Yes. Oh, no, not Matt.
No, Matt Dillon's out in the forest.
Kevin Dillon.
Kevin Dillon.
Oh yeah, he wants to jump the ravine, this bridge in the ravine for some reason.
Well, he should quit smoking. That would be a start.
He's polluting. He's throwing garbage.
He's throwing lit cigarettes on dry tinder.
What an asshole! He's a rebel. He's a rebel.
Have they established what his character's name is?
I think Fonzie, Arthur Fonzarelli.
It's Flag. And
Flag,
it's
that's right.
with 2 G's.
Like Randall Flagg
Randall
from the
Flagg.
Stand?
Which makes sense. The Frank Darabont connection, of course.
Totally,
Yes.
Yeah, but Frank Darabont didn't have anything to do with any of the Stephen King stuff at this point.
No, yeah.
No, he hadn't done like Green Mile or The Mist or anything at this point.
I think they were fans, though.
Probably a fan, yeah.
But yeah, so we meet Kevin Dillon. Is he Matt Dillon's like younger, more cross-eyed brother? Is that who he is?
Yeah, I think it's his like placenta or something.
Yeah.
They just slapped a leather jacket on him.
And you know what he's
put him on
a bike.
You know
put a sweet mullet on him.
He's in the,
yeah.
He's in the Doors movie.
He is
the drummer.
He's Robbie Krieger.
No, Frank Williams.
Oh wow, shit.
Yeah.
You know he knows his Doors shit.
The movie's
John Densmore is the drummer.
and that's who he.
Did you ever? Do you remember the '80s show Putting on the Hits? It was a lip syncing show.
Nope.
And they used to have a panel of so-called celebrity judges, and I remember watching an episode, and it was either Manzarek, Krieger, or Densmore were a judge.
Oh, really?
On
Picking
the show,
up a paycheck.
and I thought it was cool. Like, wow, one of the Doors. But my older brother was really cynical. Was like, oh my god, they were a huge band, and now he's judging this.
Where are we?
So
we're still in the opening scene.
So Johnny Mullet Flag wants to jump this.
Mullet Flag.
He wants to jump this ravine because it's a washed out bridge for some reason, but his motorcycle cacks out, and he wipes out. And then there's a hobo that's collecting cans for some reason in the area.
And that guy always
in the middle of the forest.
Well, he a professional hobo.
Yeah.
And
that is the best place to find cans.
Yeah,
in the middle of the forest. Because
exactly.
they get thrown out of airplanes all the time.
Well, back then it was campers polluted. I mean, people still pollute, but back then.
But nobody's camping there. It's in the middle of the woods. Like
and the bridge is blown out, so no one can even get there.
Unless kids are going out there to watch the submarine races, if you know what I mean.
Is that like an analogy?
It's code for making out, man.
Submarine races?
Because your
dick looks like a submarine.
No, because it's on the sea.
You call it the Red October.
I call it the Red October.
Hunt for Red October. How is that not a porno?
Have you guys?
And that bridge, by the way, looks like it exploded. There's no fucking way he's going to make that jump.
Well, his motorcycle starts cacking out on the way to the...
It's also like a 50-foot jump.
Yeah, he's not
with
evil.
With no ramp.
And he's not like with a rocket attached to his motorcycle, like Evil Knievel going over to Snake River Canyon. Yeah, when he actually he was in a rocket when he tried to jump Snake River, and he didn't. It just went basically straight down.
Evil Knievel fell into Snake River.
Yeah, we had a parachute. I guess he gets his bike back to town, but then the hobo can guy, there's a meteor blows over his head.
You're jumping way
ahead.
ahead.
Yeah. We gotta get to the blob.
We're not there yet.
Are we?
Because there's the whole condom sequence.
Which
is Nick's favorite part of this movie.
With his buddy.
Because it leads up to a really funny joke.
I swear that his buddy, there with his buddy, and his buddy wants him to go get the condoms, and for some reason they're over the counter. He has to go ask the pharmacist.
Yeah, it's like methadone.
But his friend's name is Jeff. It's Scott Jetski.
Yeah, Jetski.
Jetski.
Yeah.
His name's Jetski.
Oh yeah, right. And at the end, it's like the one guy's trying to build jet skis. He is though. The black dude is trying to build jet skis.
Was it jet ski or was it a skidoo?
No,
What's the difference?
That's the greatest sponsorship that never happened. Gretzky's jet skis. It really is.
Well, we should write Wayne Gretzky and mention that to him.
You should.
But anyways,
you should start a line of jet skis just to capitalize.
You bet skis. That's what they'd say. Hey, Wayne.
Well,
is that your favorite jet ski? You bet ski. With all of his charisma that he's known for.
Gretzky.
Is he still alive?
Wayne Gretzky?
Yeah. The condom sequence happens for some reason, and I remember in the 80s it was like something about buying condoms. It was like the most terrifying.
Oh,
so terrifying!
You're
buying condoms.
I used to steal them.
So did I.
Yeah, because I was too afraid. Yeah, me same here. At least I had them, but I used to steal them because I was too afraid and embarrassed. I was too embarrassed to go and take them up to the cash register.
I was scared of getting something from my hand, so I used to actually wear condoms when I masturbated.
Like so, you
That's
put
how
one.
Much of a hypochondriac.
Would you put one on each finger, or would you put one over the whole hand like a mitt? Before we get to the pharmacy to buy where he buys the condoms, there's apparently this town is it's like a resort town for winter
for skiing.
For skiing, and so there's a hope that there's a number of scenes with ski-doos before, or like ski-doos is a brand name. What's a snowmobile?
Yeah, snowmobile.
Yeah. And so like when I saw that, I'm thinking there's a famous line that somebody said about acting. If you show a skidoo in Act 1, you have to kill someone with a skidoo in Act 3, right?
Chekhov.
Said
about a gun.
Okay. Oh. He didn't say about a skidoo?
No, he said about a gun.
I thought it was a skidoo.
Are you sure about that, Alex?
Yes.
Good on football guy for he's being responsible. He's a nice guy. You're rooting for him.
He does not deserve to get like dissolved alive by a blob
and thrown under the bus by his friend.
And right after the blob ate a homeless person, so the blob probably smelled really bad on the inside.
Well, the thing, it didn't quite eat him because like, of course, you know, the homeless guy finds the blob. He puts a stick in it.
Yeah,
like one does.
Let's poke this blob with a stick.
Yeah, and I said in big letters, "Don't poke the meteor," and then I put, "I would have thrown that fucking stick as soon as I saw it."
So anyway, so they're buying the condoms, and it kind of sets up for he asks him if he wants ribbed or what's the alternative? Like not ribbed?
And he runs into the
spiked. I don't know what
regular boring penis feel.
Right.
I think it's called.
But then was it
smooth for her tolerance?
That's what's called, smooth for her tolerance.
Yeah. It slides right in.
I had a T-shirt that said that once.
You know, it's not made of sandpaper.
Right.
That's the selling point.
Well, what kind of grit do you want? 120 grit on that?
You can scrub a fucking an oatmeal pot with it when you're done.
Yeah, or stand that chair you've been working on. So he's in line, and for some reason you have to buy the condoms over the counter. And but is it the preacher?
Yeah,
the
creepy
priest.
Yeah. The creepy priest is just hanging out in the condom store.
Yeah. And
why is he there?
And I don't know why he's there. I mean, he's there for other reasons.
Well, he's just lurking around town.
Yeah,
like
he's a lurker.
They're implying the perviness, totally, like he's a pervert.
By the way, do you know who Creepy Preacher is?
No.
It's your favorite goth band.
He's in the Untouchables.
Oh, really?
Kevin Costner.
No, my favorite goth band is the Gothman Prophecies. Never mind.
The Gothman Prophecies.
That's good.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not good. King Kong versus Gothra would be way better. Anyways, the Creepy Preacher was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off as one of the teachers, and he was in the Untouchables.
My favorite performer of the genre, though, David Lee Goth.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's not that good.
Jump off the bridge.
Goths don't jump; they cut.
That's actually kind of fun.
The homeless dude pokes at the blob with a stick,
and then gets the blob on his hand.
What happens next?
Yeah, it slides down on his hand.
And he starts screaming because he's eating his hand.
He starts screaming, but then it shows the kid suck up the Jello. It's like, I think it's like a poke at the
at Bill Cosby.
I was gonna say the original.
Speaking of a smothering blob.
Yeah,
big blob of pudding coming after you.
Never mind.
He's being smothered by a blob in prison, hopefully.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
The two kids are gonna go see a horror movie.
Oh yeah, Garden Tool Massacre.
Garden Tool Massacre, which I fucking love.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah,
I love how packed the theater was in this small town to see Garden Tool Massacre.
Have you ever been to a small town like that?
No, I don't think I have.
Go to Revelstoke. Believe me, they'll stare at the fucking wall. There's nothing else to do on a Saturday night.
Yeah, our town theater was packed every Friday night.
For Garden Tool Massacre?
No, just for whatever movie was showing.
Later in the movie, you actually see a bit of Garden Tool Massacre. The couple's making out by the fire, and it's like, I'm like, they're too old. They're like middle aged, and the way they're kissing is so bad. I'm like, wow, fuck, the blob really jumped the shark here. And then you hear then he looks up and there's a guy in a fucking in a hockey mask with a hedge trimmer. It's not even a chainsaw. It's a little rinky-dink hedge trimmer. And he says, "Isn't it awfully late to be trimming hedges?" No. I think this guy's a peeping Tom or something.
No, because he's wearing a hockey
mask.
Not
yet. I know where you're going with this.
Oh,
and then she goes, "Let's give him something to peep at." And they start like making out again. And then he goes, "Wait a minute. Hockey season ended months ago." It's just so fucking great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, back at the house, Meg comes downstairs.
Who's Meg? Is that Shawnee Smith?
Yeah, Shawnee Smith, yeah.
Not the Meg, the giant shark from that movie. No, so that's a different Meg.
Yeah.
Okay. Not Meg Tilly.
Yeah.
No. Not Meg Ryan.
No.
Okay.
Any other Megs?
Hope not.
Not Megadeth.
Not
the whole band.
Not Megalodon. Or Mega Godzilla. No, it's Mecha Godzilla, not Mega Godzilla. Anyways, I'll stop now.
Okay. Meg.
Not a bottle of magnesium.
Or steel magnolia.
Not the cast from Steel Magnolias. But they're enormous. They're real. It's a massive Jessica Tandy. I don't even know if she's in Steel Magnolias.
Either. It doesn't matter.
She must be.
I saw Steel Magnolias in the theater with my girlfriend at the time.
Oh yeah? Did you steal any magnolias?
Oh, you know I did.
The only reason I know about Steel Magnolias is because of Siskel and Ebert. I used to watch Siskel and Ebert.
We all did.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Oh yeah, that's how I found out about a lot of movies.
About steel blobs, blob magnolias.
No, they never.
Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Beyond the Valley of the Blobs.
Anyway, back at the house.
Dances with Blobs.
There you go. You're right. Schindler's Blob.
Blob fellas.
Yep. Sorry, Nick.
No, it's all good.
Welcome to the podcast.
Back at the house, Paul knocks at the door, and then the bratty kid brother answers the door. It's like, what do you want? And then
you want to finger bang my sister?
Yeah. Finger blast your sister. That's right.
Is that something like that?
Yeah.
And then he's like, is your sister home? And he's like, and he gives him like a dirty look, and then hold on, slams the door.
I was always snotty to my older sister's boyfriend.
Me too.
I think it's
the best is, do you carry Robin Hood by the bag? Let him go, it hurts. Like, that's the best one ever.
That's really funny.
But didn't you say there's another one, Robin Hood by the box or something?
No.
Oh, no.
Aunt Jemima by the box.
Aunt?
Your Aunt Jemima?
This is the second podcast in a row where we mentioned Aunt fucking Jemima.
Do you carry Aunt Jemima by the box? Or do you carry Robin Hood by the bag? And the reply to both of those is let him go, it hurts.
Aunt Jemima.
But I find it works better with the Robin Hood because I just picture
it works better with ants.
It's also Robin Hood with his eyes bulging out in agony as you carry him by his scrotum.
It's I think it's probably a lot easier to carry somebody by the balls.
The Disney fucking Fox Robin Hood being dragged by his
Kevin Costner Robin Hood deserved to be carried by the bag.
Oh, who's the funniest? I guess Russell Crowe would be pretty funny being dragged around by his scrotum. You take it very seriously.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, a beautiful scrot.
Watching that abysmal Kevin Costner Robin Hood, I remember thinking the whole time, they should have given the lead a duo role. It should have been Sheriff of Nottingham, Alan Rickman, Robin Hood, Alan Rickman. He would have been such a better Robin Hood.
They just should not have made that movie.
Okay, so we're almost through the first act of the movie.
So the
Gardenville Massacre. What are we talking? Are we still talking about Jello?
Okay, no. The mom answers the door, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." And then Meg comes down, and then she's like,
you gotta meet my dad.
Yeah.
And he's the pharmacist.
Yeah, and he's reading the paper.
Right.
And it's that fucking newspaper.
So I give the
because everyone reads with the newspaper up against their face like that.
Like really high in the air.
Yeah.
And it's the dad, and he just bought the condoms off the dad. He's a pharmacist. So yeah, therein lies the joke.
They telegraphed this fucking
joke. Actually, I thought that was pretty good. I was like, who's behind there? I'm thinking, is it the Blob? Is the Blob?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
The Blob's your dad.
And he's reading the newspaper just to find out what's going on in the town.
Yeah.
But also his friend Scott Jetski. Yeah, he's the guy that was in the pharmacy with him. He's going on his own date with another girl.
Scott's the guy from the car rapist.
Yes.
He tries.
Well, yeah, but he
haven't got there yet.
Yeah. He's the guy.
Which is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, actually.
Anyway, so yeah, it's like It's like, you're gonna use rib condoms on my daughter's sweet vagina.
It's so like he says on my daughter's sweet vagina.
He's just totally deadpan. And his eyes go wide. He's like, rib.
Yeah,
you gotta see it.
Hilarity ensues.
You had to be there.
Yeah. So they go out on a date, and I can't remember how they end up, because they end up taking the old dude with the blob hand to the hospital, right?
Okay. We haven't gotten there yet.
Well, we should get there.
The hobo, and he jumps out at him with an axe, and he hacks.
He tries to hack his hand off because the blob's eating his hand.
Yeah, but why would he jump out at him with an axe?
And why would he have an axe? He's a hobo.
Yeah. Where did he get the axe?
Hobos get a lot of things.
Hobos have axes. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
It's part of the lore.
He hacks his arm, and it starts bleeding, and then
because he has
the blob's like yum.
Yeah.
So it gets worse, and then he just runs away screaming.
You can make a rhyme of that. With axes, he hacks his arms.
Oh, hello, EE Comics.
Meg and Scott?
No, Paul.
Paul. They almost run the guy over, and they end up taking him to the hospital because he's got a blob on his hand.
Yeah, and Paul gets into an argument with Mullet Man.
It's like fucking Nurse Ratched there. It's like the worst nurse.
Oh, yeah,
I really liked this part because I found it disturbing and frustrating, but the fact is it's a big comment on the shitty medical system in the States.
I always get so upset and wound up when I see in a movie is when someone's obviously in dire situation. They go to the hospital and it's like paperwork and nobody cares. Yes. And it just riles me up. It makes me so angry. Yeah, they just fucking take care of the person. You got a blob on his hand.
They want their money for nothing.
And their chicks for free.
And their blobs for free.
Like imagine taking a...
Everyone's so hostile to everybody in this town.
Yeah, well, not everyone.
Fucking Dartmouth.
The sheriff is nice, but he's
really nice.
He gets eaten off camera.
I didn't even know he got killed until he just stopped being in the movie.
Well, you didn't see in the phone booth?
Yeah, like it was vague.
You see his dissolved corpse.
Yeah, but it's dissolved.
So blah blah blah
blah blah blah
blah. Fucking
blah 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 blah.
Blah blah blah.
They get they send the homeless guy into room 3.
Yeah, because that's the best room to go.
And then duty.
And then they leave him there.
The dude is
with
sitting
a blob
there.
on him.
The dude is sitting there, and well, it's a small town. Yeah. They cure most things with leeches or prayer.
Right, wasps.
Yeah.
So I like that because in a lot of movies too, people end up in the hospital for a long time. There's films like you said that comment on it. There's a lot of films where just characters will be in the hospital for a long time and they never actually mention how the person would quite often be in financial ruin for that situation. Oh yeah, well, so I liked how this film right away they refused medical care due to the Blue Cross.
Well, right? No, but he volunteers his dad's insurance. He's like, use my dad's insurance to fix this homeless guy with a blob on his hand. He won't mind.
No, of course he wouldn't mind.
And then Discount Matt Dillon was like, these people don't give a shit about explanations. You know where to find. Yeah, you know where to find.
So really, him coming to town was utterly pointless.
Well, he just to get angry, and it's also the point. He's more of an outsider, more of a rebel.
Yeah.
And
they had to get him back into the city, but then he just goes back out into the country to keep jerking off. Which is funny. Like he's in the woods through 80% of this fucking movie.
Well, because the town sucks. I'd be in the woods too.
He's trying to find his way out.
It's funny.
That's right.
It's funny.
There's no roads.
Even the blob is bored. The blob's like, "Well, I thought I was going to Manhattan."
So he goes back into the room to check on the dude because no one's looking after him, and the blob's eating half the dude.
Yeah, and his eyes are rolled back his head, and it looks like he has like a tumor.
Yeah, it's like, and I love that. It's got those thing special effects where it's like it's like a wax replica of the actor's face, and it bubbles, and it's weird.
It looks great.
All fucked
terrifying.
Up. It's so much better than if they did the Blob as a remake now.
It'd be CGI bullshit.
CGI, the special
in 3D. Scott, is that his name?
No, he goes to we haven't gotten there yet. He goes to find the doctor.
Yeah,
and the doctor is Jack Nance from
which is great.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I have Jack Nance, and I have an exclamation mark. Awesome, because I love Jack Nance.
And he's also in a Suicidal Tendencies video, Institutionalized.
So that's a great tune.
It is. He and Mary.
I just wanted a Pepsi. Mom wouldn't give me a Pepsi.
That's so cool.
The doctor asks the teenager what it is.
Oh yeah,
he's like, "What the hell is that?"
It's like the hand injury. He says is this?
He's not much of a doctor.
And then they pull the blanket, and the homeless guy.
He's gone. He's
like half of him is gone.
Yeah. It looks like a melted gum almost. Like it's like this corroded torso, and it's like it had a similar effect. Like remember, like in The Thing when like the guy's head pulls off and it looks like melted. They actually did. They used melted gum for that.
Yeah.
When the head like rips itself off from the...
And then walks over with the spider legs?
Yeah.
I looked up the special effects company, and it's nobody remarkable.
I did a little bit of research, too, because they hired a company, but then this something happened. This guy just ended up taking over. He was like a minor special effects guy who ended up taking over the crew and doing all the special effects. And they were shooting almost all at night, so they would sleep all day and then just shoot all at night. It must have been kind of weird and kind of crazy. Paul... He things are happening, so he runs into a room.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. The door is open. He runs into the room, and the door slowly closes. Like the blob.
Yeah, the blob closes the door behind him.
It's hard. The blob's hiding behind the door.
It's awesome.
And I loved it. It was so funny.
And then the drips down, and it's like
well, yeah, because it crawls on this up on the ceiling because the blob's getting bigger. The more it eats, it gets bigger.
Yeah.
And then he looks up, and then it falls on. I wasn't expecting him to. And then the next thing it cuts to Meg. Is it Meg? She runs into the room.
She's sitting there because he said, "Hey, can I get you a pop?" And she's like, "Something diet." And then the next thing you know, like 8 hours later, she's like,
"I couldn't find a pop.
Where's my pop?"
Wait, what do you want again?
And then he's being dissolved. Yeah.
Well, that was great because she runs in and he's like trapped in the blob, but he's reaching out. You can see his face being stretched. It was totally cool.
And he's got one free hand.
And she grabs
that hasn't been eaten by the blob. She's like, I can pull you out of the blob. You know, like you're birthing a baby calf.
You don't pull the baby calf's head off though when you do that though.
Apparently they use silk sheets to get that effect, and like some other like KY jelly or something.
Wow, sexy.
Should have sponsored by KY.
Yeah.
Should have called the KY blob. Sex
blob, sex blob. Isn't that a Tom Jones song?
This is in Society. And then she tries to reach for his arm, and then she
pulls the whole arm off. Yeah, it was awesome, and she's freaking out, of course.
Yeah,
her date. She just pulled her arm off the.
Yeah, so you'd probably permanently traumatized.
Yeah.
There's years of therapy after that. If she survives this movie, there's years of therapy.
And then after she pulls the arm off, his face, it looks like that the Scream painting.
Yeah.
Munch.
Yeah.
Monk.
Munch.
Yeah, it was totally cool.
Yeah.
And then I have my notes. We're back in the woods, and Scott Jetski is he's making out with his he's trying to make out with his date.
This blob moves fucking fast.
I know how to get back in the woods.
What?
Wow.
What are you pointing at?
Super heavy snow.
Snowing out.
I'm telling you, Kevin Dilley's doing another pass in front of this.
I'm not going to school tomorrow. Scott Jetski has this amazing fucking car.
He's at makeout point.
He's watching submarine races out near the abandoned bridge.
Watching submarine. No one says that. Weirdo.
It's a Happy Days thing.
Just because you're dressed like Captain Ahab doesn't mean you get to talk like we're in a fucking submarine.
Yarr. That's how submarine guys talk, right? Yarr.
Oh no, Ahab wasn't. Who was the guy from 20,000 Leagues?
Dr. Madness.
Captain Nemo.
Darren right now reminds me of one of the villains in a Johnny Quest episode.
Absolutely.
I never saw Johnny Quest.
But it's called, there's an episode called The Werewolf of the Timberlands set in a Quebecois logging camp. You look like one of the bad dudes. They're all wearing tight sweaters.
By pecs mean nipples, right?
Yes. My massive nipples.
Your enormous lactating.
My pie plate nipples.
Yeah, man milk.
That was my nickname back in high school. Was pie plate nipples.
Really?
No.
It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
No, it's hard to say.
The idea of your nipples rolling off a tongue is enough to make me puke. Okay, so anyway, so the blob for whatever reasons is like, oh shit, I'm not going to eat anyone more in this hospital where people are like debilitated. Yeah. I'm going to go into the woods and randomly find a fucking parked car.
Yeah. So Scott Jetski's like he's coming on way too strong. He's coming on way too strong. She doesn't really want to.
Date rape.
I'm kind of getting worried because it's an '80s movie and sometimes they're kind of rapey back in the '80s.
They always do the rape thing.
And I was hoping it wasn't going to go there, but so he wants to mix her another drink.
I know it starts off. There's this big disturbing setup that he's going to date rape her.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what it's leading to.
Yes, of course. But then when he goes outside to the car, just thrown in amongst this.
In his trunk, yeah.
In the trunk of the car is the coolest bar.
This is the best. This is the best thing in the whole movie.
The doesn't have a fucking rig like that.
He's got a crazy...
They waste this great idea on a really shitty character.
It's true.
They should have had like the boyfriend that gets killed right away. Maybe he has...
No. I think he's the proper guy because he's a sleazy guy. Like a nice guy is not going to have a huge bar in his trunk.
This idea could be the idea of a bar in the car trunk could be converted to a better person. Yeah. Such a cool moment there, like the bar, but at the same time you loathe the guy who has the bar.
Of course. At the same time, because it's funny, you kind of lessen the loathing because it's so awesome. He has this crazy trunk full of, he's got strawberries. There's a tiny little basketball net for some reason.
He's got a little blender.
He's a blender. He's making mixed drinks.
It's true, but not to encourage drinking and driving. Brad would hate this movie. I really found this film yet again subversive because unfortunately we find out rather quickly that this young woman is not only passed out and about to fall prey to this creep. Yeah, she's already been consumed by the blob.
So he gets back into the car with bad intentions. He's going to make, and she's passed out. And then it gets even creepier because he starts like undoing her blouse.
I'm surprised he isn't like moving her mouth with his hand, going like,
oh no, it's complete.
That would have been awesome.
There is a total date rape in progress. But what's interesting ultimately is that the rapist pays for it.
But how did the blob get into the car
Yeah.
And the blob was big at this point.
She's passed out.
And the girl,
But still, you're gonna wake up if you're being eaten.
You know what? This reminds me of a lot yet again.
Dartmouth Days.
Oh,
the
no,
raft.
No, don't say it.
The raft. The Stephen King, scene where they're on the raft. The
So
guy is totally taking advantage of the woman while she's passed out.
So yeah, the guy. So he puts his hand down her bra.
And by the way, it's Erica Leniak she's a Playmate Centerfold.
What month and what year, Nick?
So Shawnee Smith is now got. They've taken her home, and her mom's like, "Oh, you're home now. You're safe. That's all that matters. Go to bed."
And we didn't need that. Yeah, here, take a Valium.
Yeah, it's like, no, well, I just saw my date got eaten by a fucking blob, and I pulled his arm off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm fine. I'll go to sleep. Yeah, I'll be fine in the morning.
I have no idea why Kevin Dillon got arrested.
It's like the town scapegoat, the kind of.
No, he's the rebel. He's the nonconformist. He's your anti-hero.
Exactly.
He's your Mad Max.
Yeah.
He's your Marlon Brando.
He's your Forrest Gump.
He's not an anti-hero.
Yeah,
he's your Kevin Spacey wanking it in the shower. I had to get that reference in once.
Again? Really?
Where's the blob when you need him?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, they don't know what to do with Mullet Dillon in this fucking movie. He's just like...
Can we call you Mullet Dillon?
Oh, and I should grow one.
Yeah.
A glorious red...
A big red glowing mullet.
Or I'll call it the red carpet. I'll get really into anal sex.
We walk the red carpet. What does that have to do with anything?
We walk the red carpet. I'll be like Willie Nelson.
Because he's into anal sex?
Yeah, it just occurred to me that nothing that Mullet Dillon has done in this movie affects anything.
No, nothing.
Mullet Boy has one good line where he just goes, "Call me a shrink. I'm a broken man."
Oh yeah, because he implies that his mom is like the town drunk and she's like,
town whore.
Yeah.
And so they're in the diner.
And he comes in and she just makes him a sandwich.
Yeah, he wants a sandwich, so she makes him a sandwich. They're closed, but he makes him a sandwich, and then Shawnee Smith comes in, and they're hanging out. And then there's a clog in the sink.
You say hanging out. Hold on. They're not hanging out. She comes in and she's just like, okay, you have to confirm that there's some fucked up shit happening in town.
Yeah.
Now, Matt Dillon hasn't seen Mullet Dillon, whatever, hasn't seen any of this shit. So he has another great line where he just goes, all I saw was an old man with a funky hand. Just like George Clinton.
And then
hey, I made that joke last night.
Did you?
I did.
Night.
You stole it from me,
what to yourself?
No, you didn't.
No, I made it when we were at your house.
You did
night.
not.
I did say George.
There's no witnesses. Did I actually steal that from you?
You did. You stole it from me
Wholesale. So there's a clog in the sink
right.
at the restaurant, and a guy thinks, well, I put my hand down this dark, weird hole.
Have you ever unclogged the sink?
Yes.
Yeah. And I've never put my hand down it.
I have.
I've had to. Yeah, there's been like spinach and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And blobs.
And blobs. and legs left over from the previous blob.
Yeah.
So this is when the special effects get really good because of course the blob grabs him by the face.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
And just sucks him into the drain.
The drain hole's like maybe like 4 inches diameter around.
And then the blob like comes out of the sink.
Yeah,
like,
and it starts attacking
the ceiling.
And everyone's trying to get out of the restaurant. And Candy Clark, who I love Candy Clark. How do you know like?
She's in one of my all-time favorite movies, Q, the Winged Serpent, the Larry.
Oh, I love that movie.
That movie is amazing.
Yeah.
Candy Clark is great.
That's a great movie.
She runs into a phone box.
Phone booth.
Oh wow.
Phone booth.
Yeah.
Phone box. What they call them in jolly old England.
Whatever.
Before that, they go into the freezer.
Oh yeah, but the blob can't get him.
It tries to get in. It looks like this like giant diseased tongue.
It's like Gene Simmons.
You know, the way the blob looked to me at this point, it looked like liposuction fat. That pink, fatty, gelatinous ooze.
It reminded me of a trip I made to the food bank in Montreal in the 90s.
Oh dear! And you went for you went right the.
We were actually at the liposuction
table.
You're like, I can't believe how much soup they give me this place. This is the saltiest pea soup I ever had.
I'm certainly not putting food banks down by any means, but I went to one in Montreal being a friend, and I was given this gelatin, big freeze-dried, somewhat shaky, trembling blob in a package, and it had a white label on it, and this is what it actually said. I shit you not. It said on the label, meat for beef burgers. That's what it actually said.
Oh, it was that pink goo that everyone was talking about.
And it looked like the blob. It really did. It also looked like one of those
How did it taste?
cubes that you have to eat.
Did you eat it? Just put it in your glass and suck it through a straw?
My friend wanted it more than me, so we
Made
did a
smoothie
trade.
out of
I
it?
took a couple of cans of soup from him. He took it home and cooked it up. It looked like one of those loaf of bread version of
big meat pillows.
But I'm done with it. They're all meat pillows.
Have you seen Snowpiercer?
Yes.
Those gelatin blocks.
Babies taste delicious.
It's like
those things are black.
A loaf of bread size thing like that. And my friend took it home, cooked it, and he said he did eat it successfully. I traded it for a couple of cans of soup.
Did you say successfully?
No, successfully.
He
ate it, but he said there was
it went in his mouth and in his belly and then out his anus. So it was all successful.
He ate it without dying, but he said he cooked it. He fried it up with onion stuff, and when he ate it, it had a grit to it like sandpaper. It looked like the Blob. At this point in the movie, I hadn't thought about meat for beef burgers in years. When I watched this movie, when I watched it at Dylan the other night with Dylan Nix, I thought, Jesus Christ, that's me at the food bank.
Strawberry milkshakes at McDonald's are made from the same thing that the Blob was made. They made the Blob out of like the stuff that they make for strawberry.
Why does that not surprise me whatsoever?
Yeah.
When was the last time we talked about the movie that we're talking? I don't even know where we are in the fucking movie anymore.
Okay, so
Kenny Clark's in the. Would you like to call it a phone box?
Right.
Normal people call it phone booth.
Phone booth.
Yeah,
a total homage to the Birds. Tippi Hedren and the Birds in the phone booth.
Oh yeah, that's what
I actually thought of it while watching.
You thought about while you're peeing.
It always thinks about Tippi.
And you know
his dick, he calls it Drippy Hedron. A huge bunch of snow just fell off the roof, by the way. It was like a fucking avalanche.
I saw someone walking around the Charlotte yesterday and a huge bunch of snow right on top of them. They're all down the back of their jacket and on their head.
He's in the phone booth.
Yeah.
And that's a great scene.
I'm thinking she's going to be okay in there. She's going to be safe.
Oh, you're a fool.
And then she managed to call the police station, and then the police chief's on his way to help her.
Yeah.
And then he just next time you see him, he's half dissolved against the glass of the food booth. I didn't really pick up on that for like
until you see the badge.
Until the badge, because like you see part of his face, and which is a shame because I like that character, and he just went too soon, and I wanted to see him get eaten as opposed to be part of the Blob.
Okay, so with the phone booth. And then the phone booth caves in.
That was a really cool scene. All of a sudden, she's just swallowed up by the Blob. And I was like, oh, shit. I have written here, this movie kills everyone, which I really enjoyed because like there's nobody that's safe, and which is cool.
Skip to the part with the hazmat suit, because everything else is just kind of like...
Well, okay, Kevin Dillon is in the fucking forest, and he comes across a bunch of Lego men.
I also like the explanation that possibly that's how the dinosaurs became extinct. Was the Blob
ate them?
The Blob ate them.
Well, then where's the Blob now?
Premier of Ontario.
So Kevin Dillon and the candy bar girl, they're back in the forest yet again.
He wants to jump that bridge.
And then the cop shows up. And then he's like, "What's going on here?" And then he says, "The men from Glad are showing us how to keep our leftovers fresh,"
which would be hilarious in 1988.
And then they're like, "Get in the back of this van, and we'll take you."
And Kevin's like, "No, I don't want to." And then they're like, "Do it." And so he gets in, and then he jumps out of a moving vehicle without injuring himself at all.
We've all done that.
He's wearing a leather jacket.
Yeah.
And so she's taken back into town. So what was the point of any of that?
I think to establish that the government are not the good guys, because usually in movies like this, the government are the good guys, right?
Let's get to the money shot here. It's the movie theater.
Yeah. So and Shawnee Smith's little brother snuck out with his friend to the movie theater, so they're in the theater watching with the whole town watching
like Weed Whacker Massacre or whatever it's called.
The garden tool,
the
guy,
garden tool
killer.
It is literally like Garden Tool Massacre.
And then it goes to the projectionist, the guy.
But there's a heckler behind the kids.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's like, he's not even a heckler. He's just one of those assholes who just says everything that's going on, and he gets sucked up by the Blob. And because the Blob knows. Because the Blob loves movies.
He looks like... Anyways, he's a redneck with a handlebar mustache who isn't gay. And the whole time he's like, I'm obviously going to be eaten.
I love the fact that the Blob picked out the guy that's talking in the movie to eat first.
Well, it's because he's the loudest. He hunts by sound.
But what about the projectionist?
The projectionist is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Didn't the Blob eat somebody that was playing with a yo-yo?
Yeah, that's
and then the Blob is yo-yoing.
Well, they're like, what's wrong with the air conditioner? He has to climb into the air conditioner. He's
I thought of two things at that point: alien and of unknown origin when he's looking for the rat.
Totally.
All the people in the movie, whenever there's something going on, they're sticking their arms in things, they're climbing in things to fix things. Like, nobody does that.
You do that all the time here at the shop.
Well, because you guys are wrecking everything.
Jesus Christ, yeah, I'll tell
Stop
you.
clogging up things.
I come in one time, I see a pair of legs kicking from the ceiling. That's just a
Alex,
boss.
get me down.
Don't worry about it. It's just a boss.
He was trying to catch a pigeon.
People freak out. They're pointing at the legs. But he owns the place. Let him do what he wants. Yeah.
So they're at the movies.
I was really happy to see it was a packed theater. That was great.
Yeah.
I really love packed theaters. Like scenes in movies, especially in The
Blob.
Last Dragon. Barry Gordon's The Last Dragon. There's great scenes where they're watching Bruce Lee movies in the theater.
Oh, okay.
It's The Last Dragon.
You mean Dragon? The Bruce Lee story?
No, The Last Dragon, directed by
How many
Barry
movies
Gordy.
involving the word dragon was this
Produced
guy
by Barry Gordy. Do you know that? You know the DeBarge song? To the beat of the rhythm of the night.
DeBarge.
That's the theme song to The Last
Are you
Dragon.
wearing your DeBarge?
Is this? Do you think this is a filibuster? We need to move on.
That movie, by the way, that song also appears in Horrible Bosses, which includes Kevin wanking it in the shower, Spacey, and the cat.
Okay,
I'm starting to
shower.
wonder about you, dude. That's why.
Way more hilarious.
Well,
after
That's why you
his
keep bringing it
downfall.
up, right?
Apparently made an impression on you because that's all you talk about.
Yeah.
It did. It's
So
you
so
went
contrived.
last
It's the most
Halloween. You went
contrived
as
film.
Kevin Spacey in the shower.
I did.
It was weird.
He didn't.
I know.
What's
Well,
weird?
this part was you operated the curtain that opened.
Yeah, it's Kevin
What's
Spacey in the
happening?
shower. Look at him.
I rewatched The Karate Kid recently,
It's a trauma
and I
horror.
forgot that the Karate Kid, he goes to the dance because he doesn't want to be seen by the bullies. So he goes as a shower. And,
That's right. That's right.
And so I would love it if Alex went as a shower, but he's Kevin Spacey jerking off in the shower. My favorite crowded movie scene thing was when I went and saw Outbreak. And there's a moment when a guy's in the theater, he's like, and you see virus eye view like floating around and landing on popcorn and getting people's eyes and ears and on their dicks and whatever, right?
Because everyone has their dicks out in that theater. Yeah.
And, well, you know,
because they're watching
and it's like everyone's it's just like you see spittle flying through the air. And then it cuts to a hospital where all the people have the horrible monkey disease. The monkey disease.
Yeah.
And then Dustin Hoffman turns around and just goes, apparently they all picked it up in a movie theater. And I burst out laughing so fucking hard because I was in a movie theater.
I thought Dustin Hoffman
and I
was in
remember
his
just
room
thinking
right
like, dude, that's the Blob.
It's so manipulative.
It plucks the annoying guy out, and then it starts attacking everybody sort of randomly.
Oh, I love. And at this point now, it's grabbing people and just pulling them in,
and blobbing them.
Yeah,
like
you
a
know
blob
what it
would.
remind me of when the blob immerses the screen is like when in Gremlins when the Gremlins come out of the screen and start chasing the moviegoers.
And
the
Gremlins
best, my favorite movie theater kind of self-reflexive violence.
Demons.
No.
Oh, good one. We have to do that one.
But my favorite's Targets.
Targets is great. It's a great
with
movie.
A sniper on the loose.
The one with Anthony Edwards?
Boris Karloff is in that. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, and it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
great.
so the Blob is now in the movie theater.
Yes,
It's pulling people into it.
And there's like a really cool strobe effect.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
Like,
and people are getting trampled
It's true what
and
Nick
shit.
said, yeah.
So then, what's her name? The pretty girl who's still alive.
Shawnee
and
Smith.
The two kids. They run down an alley that has no fucking exit.
But she has a jacket on. Earlier, she had trouble with the zipper. As soon as you see that, like in the first act of the first scene, she can't, and she gets stuck, and the Blob's going to eat her, but because her jacket's stuck, she can't undo it.
The kid does.
Or somebody does.
Yeah, the one of the like her kid brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they run into an alley.
Yeah.
So it's a fire exit, presumably. Then why does the alley lead nowhere? It just leads to a brick wall. And the Blob is coming.
The sewer.
And they go to the sewer, and it grabs her by the hair, and rips her hair out. That's awesome.
That would hurt.
Yeah. And then it gets all alien-y with the water.
Yeah.
And they kill a motherfucking kid. I miss movies where they kill kids.
Oh, I love when they kill kids in movies.
Like Assault on
Like
Precinct.
an alligator.
Yeah. Alligator is probably my favorite kid kill
And
in
also
almost every movie.
Alien 3, Nude, who gives you so much hope
She
in
doesn't
part 2.
The last movie I can think of where they killed a kid
It's okay, man.
for entertainment purposes, where it wasn't like Lorenzo's Oil or Schindler's List or some shit, but where it was like
Circus du Soleil.
Well,
Terms of endearment.
a kid dies and but that's not entertainment. You're not like, yay, a kid died. But
Yeah, you were.
the last movie I can think of where I was like, yay, a kid died was Mimic.
I haven't watched that movie in a
the
long forever.
kids with the cornflakes.
The kids go down into the sewer to try and catch another one of those bugs, but now it's a giant bug, and it just mercilessly kills both of them.
And they put it in the cornflake box.
Mimic is good.
Yeah, I like.
We have the director's cut, which is supposed to be way better than the theatrical cut. We have it on Blu-ray. I haven't
Another
I haven't seen it
interesting
yet.
kid kill is in The World According to Garth. Kid dies in that. Too.
Really?
Yeah.
What kid?
And-
Oh, the kid in the car accident when the wife's giving the blowjob to the guy and they crash into the back of him. And the
Well,
kid goes
the
through
guy
window.
was
I love that movie.
Well,
That's like the best elevator pitch ever. Just keep Darren's explanation. Oh yeah, the film where the kid dies because they drive into the parking lot and the
The wife's
mother's
giving
giving
the
head. That's like the best elevator pitch I ever heard.
So, we're down to 2 beers, by the way, guys.
Are we?
We're down to 1.
What?
This is the last one.
I've got like more than a half a beer here, so I'm okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyways,
let's wrap this thing up.
Wrap this up.
There's so much of this movie we haven't even talked about with the government, which we find out is responsible for the blob because in the 50s they created this thing, they launched it into space to keep everyone safe,
and then
it came back to space, and so the government's trying to blame motorcycle guy on, for some reason, he's a scapegoat.
I don't think the government's blaming him.
Meadows, that crazy, the crazy guy's in charge. He wants to shoot him. He wants to blame him for everything that's, going on.
Yeah, like a discount Morgan Freeman guy.
Yeah.
Like in Dreamcatcher.
Yes.
He looks
Yeah,
like
totally.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he's a poor man's Morgan
It's a movie
Freeman.
that I really also kind of like. Anyways, sucked down a manhole.
And Kevin Dillon finally jumps the bridge because he's being chased by the government guys or shooting him for some reason.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. But here's the thing, Darren. He doesn't just jump the bridge physically. He jumps the bridge inside himself.
Right, and he
crosses the barrier.
and he's finally able to tell his dad that he's ashamed of him.
Yeah, he
or some shit.
Yeah. There's a fun scene where they barricade everybody in the church.
I can't believe you referred to that as a Fonzie jump without saying jump the shark.
He just calls it a Fonzie jump.
Well, because he's wearing a black leather jacket. He's on a motorcycle. It's totally a Fonzie jump.
But
jump the shark.
It's like a throwback to the 50s.
No, but jump the shark. You didn't mention jump the shark.
No, I didn't mention jump the shark because
the movie doesn't jump the shark.
No, there's no shark.
The movie doesn't jump the shark. I'm saying that he reminds me of Fonzie when he rides around on the motorbike with the black leather jacket.
Fonzie jumps the shark.
No, because by the way, Fonzie was on water skis when he jumped the fucking
Let's
shark.
wearing a leather jacket.
Let's move on.
Yeah, why would you wear a leather jacket in the ocean?
It's ridiculous.
Jet skis? What's the difference?
Jet skis.
Coming back.
Scott jet ski.
Okay, so and then there's a rather impressive stunt where he's like, get on the back of my motorbike because they're down the sewers,
right?
And the blob is there and they're trapped, and he like rides up the side of the sewer and down, like.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool because he rode around the blob.
By the way,
I can't remember.
What's our heroine's name again? Meg. Is that her
Meg.
name? As we already said, one of the kids dies down in the sewer.
Oh, he dies horribly.
Yeah,
that
he
kid.
does die horribly, but he should sue her.
Really?
You were so strong at the beginning of
your humor is
now
weak.
I want my money back.
Yeah.
So
I'm just feeding you guys lines.
So let's get to it then. So they all escape the blob and they run into the town hall, and the blob's trying to get in, and they're spraying it with fire retardant.
Right.
And I don't think it's cold though.
They still haven't realized that cold kills the blob.
Not fire retardant, fire challenging.
I know you're gonna say something.
Me too. And then a dude from RoboCop.
The guy hit by Red
the
from
mutant.
that 70s.
Bitches leave.
Bitches leave.
It's in the window. Yeah.
So they're in the they're all trapped in the fucking library or the
church or the town hall or the
whatever it is. They're spraying the blob.
I love how the cop gets eaten.
Yeah.
He gets like the blob
yeah.
wraps on his back and like snaps him in half and pulls him out.
Which is also
awesome.
right out of Creepshow 2.
Yeah,
because the one guy he gets his leg fucking like.
Well, it was also reminiscent of the drain scene when the guy got sucked down the drain, but this was even better because of that guy he didn't like.
So whatever, fucking Kevin Dillon with his glorious mullet, they steals a convenient truck full of cold.
Yeah,
he cold truck.
It even says on it, snow maker.
Because they live in a resort town, and the winter's been a little dry, and so they have like a snowmaker truck full of like nitrous oxide or whatever it's called. There's a lot of other things that happen. People die. They freeze the blob and
but what I like about the way they freeze the blob is that Kevin Dillon is trapped inside the truck. And it's actually Shawnee Smith who pulls out the fucking AK-47, and she goes like, she goes, but she doesn't say anything cool when she goes to kill it. She just goes,
"What would you?"
She goes, "You son of a bitch."
Yeah, they could have given her a better line than that.
Why would you call the Blob a son of a bitch?
Yeah.
He doesn't even.
How do you know his mom's like a bitch?
How
Like,
about fuck you,
her mom's really nice.
Blob?
Yeah, Blob. I'm gonna kill you, Blob.
Yeah, or
like,
eat
lead, Blob.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
or like eat this would have been good. Even that would have been better than you son of a bitch.
Suck on this,
then,
you fucking fuck.
Like a girl, she gets her leg caught when she goes to jump off a truck, and
course.
It's like, oh, you fucking lame ass chick.
She said swallow this like Evil Dead 2.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah,
or,
so throw back to that. Nope.
So then, for whatever reason, the truck full of cold, the truck full of the one thing that can kill the Blob explodes right next to the Blob.
Yeah, it's all the dead guys from Goodfellas hanging on the meat hooks.
Yeah, it's that guy who looks like Eugene Levy.
Layla.
Layla's playing.
In the background.
Well,
it took him 2 days to thaw out the Blob before they could do an autopsy.
Well, yeah,
as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be the Blob.
Well, also the Blob of this the Blob. I made that joke way earlier.
Finish this so we hit last call.
I also found it funny that the Blob will make like a scary noise at this point. It's like
it's more of a fart, really.
but it has no mouth. It's just a blob.
Yeah, it's just air being released.
But anyway, so they freeze the Blob, they blow it up, and it starts snowing in the town.
Looks like
so when it's snowing in the town at the end, is it snowing Blob?
Then when it's frozen, it looks like purple crack on the ground.
Purple crack. It's snowing, and I actually thought it was a really cool looking set. Because the truck was on its side, and there was this big pile of frozen crystal, all purple, and it pulled back, and it was the whole town with that. And then the snow starts coming down, and then the door opens up, and the kid is the first one to come out, and he's like, whoa! I totally forgot my best friend was eaten by the Blob 20 minutes ago. Yeah. Like fucking in the sewer.
This is awesome. And then, I go home and sleep.
And then the guy who sells skidoos is like, I told you we'd have snow.
As I said, the skidoos come back into play.
And he's like, we better get the forklift or whatever. Because we got dump truck because we gotta get this thing into the meat freezer by morning.
And by far the most surreal image of the film at this point, frozen solid, Kevin Spacey wanking it. Yeah, he's frozen solid.
There's all these frozen pieces of Blob all over the town.
Yes.
And
this is exactly where I'm going.
And so their idea is they're going to put it in a dump truck and put it in a freezer.
Yes.
And then
before morning.
But then what?
But here's the thing.
But the government's evil. They want you can't give it back to the government.
No, but the government's all been eaten by the Blob.
Not all the government.
He's called Donald Trump. But the government has been consumed by the Blob.
I hope Donald Trump's not listening to this podcast right now.
It's shape up or ship out, buddy.
Yeah, what Dylan said.
Build the Blob.
So you got some frozen Blob, right? The city is littered with it.
It's going to start melting immediately.
Immediately it's going to start melting. So it doesn't matter when the fucking sun comes up.
All it takes is like
a marble-sized piece of Blob. It's going to eat like a bug and then a mouse and then a bird.
And a cat.
Terminator 2 when they liquid nitrogen the cop and then he pulls himself back together.
But he was a cyborg creature.
Not a blob?
No, he's a cyborg.
Then we get to the very end.
Yeah, and Creepy Preacher has a little bit of a blob in a little case.
Which he picked up earlier when he went into the diner.
No, it wasn't that part. He went into the shower where Kevin
Spacey stop with the fucking Kevin Spacey. Like, it's not even funny anymore,
Why are you even talking
It's not even funny anymore.
What's
a podcast is cool? This is 9 times you've mentioned that you have that poster in your room of Kevin Spacey in the shower, don't you?
Do you mean that he has a picture of Kevin Spacey in the shower in his room, or do you mean that he has a picture of Kevin Spacey in the shower?
Both.
Oh, yeah.
In his wallet, and his a T-shirt.
You don't even have a roommate.
Like a tattoo on his back.
Oh my God, this is horrifying. There is no roommate. It's just Kevin Spacey.
It's Kevin Spacey. It's a cardboard cutout of Kevin Spacey, and he puts it in the shower, but doesn't turn the water on because it'll just wreck the cardboard.
His name's Kevin Spacey, not Kevin Soggy.
Okay, so then at the very end, for no apparent reason, Preacher McCreepy has this revival tent in the middle of a cornfield.
Yeah, as one does.
And he's all like, God's birthday is
bunch of
coming.
rubes
And there's and it's all, there's no white, it's all black people.
Is it?
Well, yeah, it's a revival tent.
Yeah, when's the resurrection coming?
And he's got a little glass case of blob.
A little jar full of blob.
Yeah. He's going to potentially unleashing the sequel, which never happened. And it never happened because this movie was a huge bomb.
It was.
It was a huge bomb.
It lost. It only cost $18 million to make. No, not even.
No, it was around 18. I looked up. It was between $18-20 million.
And it made about $6 million.
It made $8.2 million.
Lost $11 million.
Yeah.
From the blob to the bomb.
So let's wrap it up, folks.
Yes. So Dylan,
you know what? Let's double down on this.
Yes.
We each just go whether or not you'd recommend it, and then your pairing. We don't have to go around.
Okay.
Round robins.
You start.
Okay.
Yes, I would absolutely recommend it.
Yep.
Happily.
Yep.
But I would have anyway. I've always loved this movie. Mm-hmm. I think it's a very fair successor to The Thing and Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Fly, as remakes of 50s horror movies. This one is a lot more fun than those other ones.
Oh, I loved all the other ones as well.
Oh, I love the other ones too. Yeah. This one it's a little more tongue-in-cheek. As for pairings, of course, we're thinking Creepshow 2. That's come up. I was thinking Chud at one point. I know I'm pulling an Alex where I'm slipping. I'm
gonna recommend 7 movies.
I thought of it as we were during the podcast. It dawned on me what the perfect pairing for this is. It's a movie from 1997 with Elijah Wood called The Faculty. And if you've never seen The Faculty,
that is pretty good. Yeah, actually, that's a really good pilot.
It's a Robert Rodriguez film about like a bunch of teachers who are an entire school is gradually taken over by aliens from another planet. Very similar in tone. So if it's Monday at Black Dog Video, which is 2 for 1 every Monday, and you come in with the Blob and you're talking to me, I'm going to say, why don't you grab The Faculty? Because it'll be a perfect creature feature.
Grab The Faculty, motherfucker.
Grab the faculty of that.
Grab the motherfucking bugger.
Alex.
I would totally recommend this film, and if someone came in on a Monday night, 2 for 1, or any night, want to pair with the Blob, what about Bob?
Because it sounds like Blob?
What about Bob? Or S.O.B., a.k.a. Sob, directed by Blake Edwards, which we also have.
You're only recommending these movies because they sound like the Blob?
I said I'd recommend it with What About Bob?
All right. Anyways, Nick...
how about Blob Roberts? Why don't you just recommend that one?
Actually, that could work too.
Blob Roberts.
That's a great movie, though. No, I mean Blob Roberts.
And if someone recommended it, they might say, like, what would I do with this movie? I'd say, take this Blob and shove it.
Or 9 to Blob.
Or the Italian
Maybe
Blob.
you could rent the movie about Kevin Blobs. Kevin Jobs.
Blob
Jobs of Blob.
No, it doesn't.
Or Jobs.
Hey, what's your favorite comic strip? Calvin and Blob?
I like Blob Dylan a lot.
Blob Seeger and the Silver
Blob
Blobber
Seeger.
Bland.
Oh my
Silver
God.
Mullet Band.
That's too fucking good. Blob Seeger and the Silver Mullet.
That was good.
How are your feelings about this movie, Nick? And what would you recommend to go with this movie?
And make it quick.
Okay, yeah, I love this movie still. It's still a lot of fun. It is really stupid, but the effects are amazing, and I definitely recommend it. And I would pair it with Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, I know that one.
Which is like...
Do we have that movie?
We have Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
It's in our cult section.
I'm going to just point to it. Thanks. So anyone who's listening to this, Nick is pointing at the cult section, so you know what he's
in our
doing.
cult section. In general weirdness, and the effects are amazing. Like the effects of the clowns are, and they wrap them up in cotton candy cocoons, and it's just
sounds good.
Yeah, it's just very
Delicious.
Disturbing and fun and weird, like the Blob. So that's
like
my
Alex.
pairing.
Yeah. Yes, I will also agree. This movie is well worth watching. It's a ton of fun. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. Great effects. I wanted more of the effects. My only complaint is I wanted more Blob. More Blob. Give me some more Blob.
Yeah.
That liposuction Blob. Give me some more of that.
If you want to see more Blob, Darren, I recommend you watch some opening minutes of American Beauty, and you can.
Every time you speak tonight, my soul just gets crushed.
I'd also recommend.
I don't know why.
There's a great Peter Fonda, Jane Fonda movie on Golden Blob.
That's not Peter Fonda either. It's Henry Fonda.
Cool.
What's the difference?
Well, the one's father, one's son.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And for my pairing, I'm going to go with this cool Mexican film I saw last year called The Untamed, which is this really interesting, weird, creepy movie about this alien tentacled thing that lives in a barn that people go have sex with. It's
Whoa.
it's creepy and weird and really awesome. Yeah, it's a Mexican family drama, but there's something nasty in the tool shed.
Untamed or unnamed?
Untamed. It's called The Untamed. So if you're into tentacle porn, it might be your thing. It's creepy and weird and kind of gross, and I'd highly recommend that as well.
And my final recommendation too is that
oh god,
we have the original Steve McQueen blob at Canby. We don't have it here.
Okay.
I say if you have the '80s blob, you go over there, pick up the other blob, so you have 2 blobs, and then you rent Albert Nobbs.
Oh, you beat me to it by 2 seconds.
Oh, it blobs. All right.
Shit.
Anyways, let's wrap this stupid pun. Okay.
The Great Train Blobbery. I mean, what do I follow that up with?
Apparently, Nick's made of a giant balloon and he just deflated across the store.
Well, you could. I recommend this special snack. Corn on the Blob when you watch it.
And there's a great comedy from the 80s, Married to the Blob or Blobsters.
Anyways, this has been the Bloberific podcast. I'm your blobbing host, Darren Blob.
Okay.
There is a fan club, the Blob Lobby.
The Black Blob.
The Breakfast Blob.
Thank you for listening to the Black Blob after Blob
Trains,
Blobcast.
Planes, and Blobomobiles.
Trains, blobs, and Blobomobiles.
Yeah. We could go on and Citizen Blob.
We are located. The Blob Father. How did we not? That should have been the first one.
Yeah.
We are located at 1470. Are we done?
I don't know. Are we done?
1470 Commercial Drive in sunny Vancouver.
Wintry,
except when it's under a mountain.
Snowy Vancouver. 451 Canby Street.
Canby Street. We are open noon till 10 and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, thanks for listening, and we will be back in 2 weeks. I don't know what that episode's going to be.
It's going to be something great.
The Black Dog After Dark podcast is recorded at Black Dog Video on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, Canada. It's presented by Alex Chisholm, Darren Gay, and Dylan Reimer. It is produced by Dylan Reimer and Darren Gay. Alex just kind of stands there and drinks beer. The intro and outro music was recorded by Tiger Burning Bright, composed by Jeff, who works at Jefferson's Barbershop, also on Commercial Drive.
I have a friend named Trish, and this is her real name, Trish Shanks-Shaw. I always said she should put out an album, even though she's not a singer, The Shanks-Shaw Redemption. Trish, if this survives the edit...
It won't, Trish.
On the